Hola, queridos amigos. What a pleasure to be with you. Thanks to the American Society in Mexico, Larry Rubin, our president. And I have a very special invitee today, and Giacomo Cattaneo Adorno. He's a Marquis, and we met in his castle, actually in Italy. That was like 2 years ago. And you know, when you talk about refinement, about seductive sophistication, a magnificently restored property that dating back to the 12th century. This is a unique place, this Castello of Giacomo. And now it's a beautiful hotel. It's a splendid property. It's set on the grounds of the historic Castello di Gabiano and set in the castle ancient hunting lodge, these luxurious suites that offer excellent views of the town of Gabiano, the surrounding countryside, its vineyard. Giacomo Cattaneo Adorno, the Marquis of Gabiano, together with his wife, Emanuela, which I met in Mexico many years ago, and then we had the pleasure of being there in the beautiful Castello. They're both so passionate, so determined, and they're dedicating themselves to the production of wine, to the preservation of the very particular flavors of northern Italy. And actually, I know there's some news today. And the way that they're doing the winemaking tradition, the knowledge of enology, and of course, the Castello, which is unique. What a pleasure, Marquis, to have you here with us today. And tell us about this Castello di Gabiano in the Piedmont region in the north of Italy.
Well, first thing I want to say, what a pleasure it is to see you in the sun, relaxed, while we are in very, very cold, little snow in the morning and full of winter. But that's good because it's the time we can dedicate to the pruning. So we are very concentrated with the pruning, and you probably know the pruning of the grapes is the most delicate moment, the most important. Is because the grapes are asleep, but you're preparing and you're putting the basis of everything that will happen during the year. You have to cut, you have to choose the right gems, you have to be careful not to cut the flow of the lymph, of the juice that will go to the plant. You have to be able to have a size and dimension that will be not too productive, so that you have the best quality and not too much quantity. So it's a very exciting moment, and the year starts in this moment. It starts with this moment, and we are very excited, and we are working at it, and we know that we are putting in this moment the foundations of what will happen the whole year. I'm saying that because the importance of history, of foundation, of putting the basis is what I think is proved by the Castello di Gabiano. Gabiano is a hill on the most northern hill of Monferrato. Monferrato is one of the two main producing regions of Piedmont. The first one is Langhe, where the famous Barolo is done. The second is Monferrato, where Barbera d'Asti comes, Gavi, which is probably, you know, a white wine.
Of course.
And then you have other minor wines, which are probably less known in Mexico, like Grignolino, Dolcetto. And in Gabiano, it's the most northern hill, the highest hill, from my window. My window is the other part you're seeing from the castle, looking. This is the north slopes you can see from the castle, you see in this beautiful photo. And the north slope, you see about 70 kilometers of rice fields, where the famous arborio rice, which is the basis of risotto, is made. And then you have the whole circle of the Alps with Mount Rosa, and I'll show you later a little photo, which is very beautiful, that shows this. And this means that in summer, in the moments where there's more heat, we have very, very cool nights, so a very strong climate excursion, about 10 to 15 degrees difference of temperature between day and night, and which means that all the juice, all the flavors at night go into the skin to protect the plant and make means aromas, perfume, and very subtle and quality grapes.
I know. I love your wines. Actually, we went into your cellar, if you remember, in the Castello, and you took a wine with my year, which I'm not saying the year I was born, and you gave it to me, and I enjoyed it so much. A few days afterwards, traveling around Italy.
Yes, that's a particularity of our wines. They age very well. We have wines more recent, but we have wines which go up to 46, which was a great year. We have all the great years of red Piedmont wines, and they're perfectly conserved. And in fact, some of them are in Mexico too, because we have a very good friend, which is Broca, which has them, and he carries some of these wines. I have a bottle here of our 74. I don't know, it doesn't show. No, it doesn't.
Yeah, please show us, of course. Yes, okay, beautiful. This is a bottle
of 74, and it's probably this way. I probably open later this evening for dinner, and they're very fresh and present.
Giacomo, where can we find the wines in Mexico? Where can we buy them?
You can buy them with Broca. You know Broca?
Of course I know Broca, but the people that see us now and would love to try your wines, what will be the best way for them to...
Well, to ask Broca, to ask Broca, and he has it certainly, and he can give it to you. I don't know exactly. I could give you the telephone or email, but I mean, I think he's very well known.
Of course, so people can really enjoy your beautiful wines, which are really made with passion, with love. And tell us about the Castello. I mean, this is
well, this region, the Castello is right on the River Po, so it used to be very important because it was for exacting taxes, because all the transport to Switzerland and to Northern Europe passed on the river in this part. So already in the year 600, 700 after Christ, it was already an important place of arms, and there was a deed. And in fact, you find the deed on the label of our Bourgogne, on our Chardonnay. Let's see if I manage to show it here. Yes, this is it. And Corte Magnam nomine Gabiano was a deed by Charlemagne instituting it as a place of arms. And then it passed through from the Archbishop of Vercelli, it passed to the Marquis of Monferrato, great warriors, lots of battles. At times, I see numbers of COVID, etc., which are very sad and very expressive. But then I look at the history of the Castello Gabiano, and there were wars every year or every 2 years, with very cruel and very savage. Then it passed to the emperors of Constantinople, which were starting to feel the danger of the Turks surrounding Istanbul and Constantinople, and trying to buy land and security in these, which were very fertile and happy lands. And then one of the daughters of the emperor married the Gonzaga, which was the famous, known from the opera Rigoletto, the Gonzaga, which was the famous family from Ravenna, which then did a big war against the kings of Piemonte, the Savoy, which they lost. And then that's when my family came in. My family is Genovese, they were bankers, and they had done great loans to the Gonzaga to do this war, and the Gonzaga could not repay, and that's how it came in my family. And the Durazzo, which was my ancestors, were great wine lovers, great botanists, very knowledgeable people. They had a great library, very of ancient books. So they straight away started developing the grapes, developing the strains of grapes, and that was, it became a little, already in those times, a place of experiment of quality wine from Piemonte. Gabiano wine won the first prize in the famous Paris exposition, Universal Exposition on 1900. And I remember when I was a child, people which are mythical in Italian and Piemontese wine production, a person like called Cernilli, which is a journalist that still works now, and other people who are great enologists. I remember them experimenting with woods, with aging, to try to better the quality of the wine. And I just tried to blend in this tradition. And when you have such a history of tradition, what you have to do is try to not ruin what has been done and good, and try to be innovative and try to find new solutions, but being always very careful to look for quality, for obviously, well, one of our principles is that nature will always give us the best product, and our job is to take care of nature and not to ruin what nature has done, and that is not easy in itself. And it's very technological too, because not ruining good grape, good wine means protecting it from dirt, protecting it from oxygen, protecting it from air. It means a lot of things which can be done but that are highly technological. So it's exciting on this point of view too.
It is a perfect mix of technology, savoir-faire, to know how to do it, and at the same time, your beautiful terrain, history. We know that you cannot do a good wine if you don't have good grapes.
I'm sure beauty gives good grapes. It isn't an obvious thing, but it's a fact. Maybe because it attracts good people, and that is the first thing. And to have good people working with you is very important. But I think the fact, the grapes are happy. The grapes are happy to see the beautiful mountains. The grapes are happy to see the beautiful castle, and they're happy to deliver a good product. I think that's true. Our wine is, as I told you, is less intense, less aggressive than the normal Piemontese Barbera or Barolo we will drink. If you drink it, you will find a more subtle approach, strong aromas, long evolution in the mouth that comes from this climatic facts that I told you. Definitely, if you open a bottle at the start of your dinner, it will have one taste and have another taste at the end of the dinner, because even in the glass, it will have had the evolution, so you will never be bored. And then a definite lingering aftertaste that comes from the earth, which is a very chalky, limey soil, which is in fact what we like to call terroir, which is this taste that just lingers in your palate after you had your glass of wine.
And I think the terroir is everything. It's not just the terrain or the vineyard. It's the smile of the people that work there. It's the savoir-faire of the winemaker. It's you taking care and loving what you do. It's your cellar. It's at the end, it's everything. And how come you got so involved in this winemaking, in this beautiful world?
As I told you, it began, as all things when you're young, as an obligation, a duty to my family. And then I must admit, with age, not so recently, but quite a few years ago, it developed in a passion. I think what makes it more interesting nowadays, that even the general customer is much more sophisticated. I remember I'm a cousin with the Frescobaldis. My best friend when I was young was Ludovico Antinori. And we used to go around to sell wine, and it was kind of boring. You have to say the same things, this wine, the aftertaste, so and so, and you didn't really think that people understood. And then nowadays, your general customer is somebody who's usually very passionate, who's happy to have discovered you and to have discovered your wine, and you're always a little. You were speaking about your daughter, which is preparing for an examination. When you do wine, you are always preparing an examination, because every time somebody is tasting your wine, you look at it, will he like it, will he not like it? And when you see that he appreciates, you're happy, you passed the exam. And it's always an exam. So it's a little like that. That would make it so passionate and so interesting, I think.
Absolutely, it is. It became also, people have better palates, and everybody knows that you will become leader of opinion in your circle when you know about wine, when you can talk about the wine, when you can really understand and enjoy the wine. So people listen to you, and that's beautiful, all this culture of wine around us. And what do you think make your wine so different? It's tradition, it's technology.
No, as I told you, it's the terroir, it's a climate, the unique position. It's, I mean, we have about a series of valleys, which is about 100 kilometers long from south to north and 50 kilometers wide. And we are the highest hill, the northernmost hill. We are directly on the plains, on the river, and we have the Alps, which sends the wind on us. So it makes it really unique. I think that's what makes it so different. And it's so interesting.
I agree with you. I'm talking with the Marquis Giacomo Cattaneo Adorno, and he has a beautiful castle in Piemonte. And now it's a super boutique hotel, those luxurious suites that are located on 260-hectare estate, the natural elements, the rare beauty, the open view that you were talking about, the Alps, the Po River, the vineyards, the private lake, the beautiful park with the mysterious labyrinth that I'd love you to talk about, the labyrinth that we went over there with Emanuela, with you, with your dog, and this exclusive pool between the Italian style orchard, and it's also beautiful, this corner of the Po River Valley. And Castello di Gabiano is close also to many of the most important sites, as the historic town of Casale Monferrato, the famous Piazza Massini and the Duomo. Turin is less than an hour away by car. And this destination that it's steeped in history, and it makes us discover this beautiful area of Italy, and of course, Castello di Gabiano, that in a way takes us back in time, and it makes us part of this luxury royalty. So tell us about the Castello di Gabiano.
Well, as I told you, Castello di Gabiano was evolved as a military place of arms.
But now about the hotel.
Yes, it was built in the 12th century, and then it was very carefully restored by my grandmother at the beginning of last century. It's restored as the castle was restored at the time, with a look for historical preservation, but at the same time a taste for comfort, for beauty, for well-being. As you know, Manuela is an architect, and I think I personally learned this from English people. I mean, I don't hunt anymore, but I used to hunt a lot. And I went to England to these shoots, and I always say that people who had beautiful houses, and they always had guest houses. And I asked them, and there were people who didn't need it. I mean, they had the money to keep up the. And why did they do that? They told me, Giacomo, you know, you come to a house like this and you spend your time, and you spend a lot of time. You have the plumbery and the roofs, and you have the chef, which is the problem, and the cleaning and everything. And instead, if you have a few selected guests, that a guest, but on the borderline of friends, okay, it becomes part of the day-to-day. You don't arrive on a Friday evening when you would like to relax and you have the heating which is not working or a thing like that. You have something which is working because it's an organization which is going. And that's how it started. And then, as you know, Manuela is a very good architect. Manuela has built some of the most nicest houses in Careyes, in Mexico, and she has worked with some of the best Italian architects. She worked on the Gare d'Orsay Museum with Gaolenti, and she did very important. So it became like a hobby. Let's try, you know, in the ancient times, you had lots of labor. So around the castle, there were lots of small apartments which were dedicated to labor, which were empty, because nowadays everything is very digitalized and robotized, and so you have much less labor, and they were empty. So let's start. And we started with 4, and we started with fun, and decorating was lots of fun, and we've always done these things together and have fun doing this. And it was a big success. We had people coming from Russia, people coming from China, people coming from the States. And how did you discover us? Oh, we just looked up in the internet, etc. And then the 4 became 8, and the 8 became 10, and now they're 14. And now we transformed. We had the old vinegar producing area, and which we don't do vinegar anymore. And it became a nice little restaurant with a fireplace, with a view on the River Po, which is calmly passing down while you have dinner. And as I say, and then the beauty attracts good people. The most difficult thing, usually when you have a small place like that, is to find a good chef. Instead, we have a fantastic lady which is all the time experimenting with local Piedmontese food. And you have, you know, there's this big thing now of biological food and 0 kilometers. We don't have 0 kilometers. We have 0 meters. I mean, a client comes and he asks for something off the menu. He wants a fresh salad instead of the souffle, which is the first plate. Okay, you have to wait 10 minutes because we're going into our shop and pick the salad, and we'll pick it for you, and it's completely biological. So it's become something which is we stay in weekends in Gabiano much more because we have fun, because we go down to the restaurant and we meet interesting people. And the people are happy because they're having a unique experience, because they're immersed in history, which doesn't happen at the same time. They have, as you said, there's a labyrinth, which is all its symbolism of getting lost, of looking for yourself into yourself, and all the symbolism labyrinth have. There is a fantastic swimming pool just under the main tower where you can spend, if you want to spend a day and relax. And so it makes it for a beautiful atmosphere, and the history is living again. I mean, it's reliving, much better than it would be just me and Manuela and our children in this enormous castle on our own. And we are very happy of this choice. And I think you were happy too when you came. So you agree with
very much. I enjoyed everything. I enjoyed the wines, the food. I enjoyed the beautiful Castello, and I enjoyed very much your company and Emanuela's. And it was just marvelous. You have such a great, beautiful place in there. And there's a new project that you have now in the wines, something that is coming new in the wine business?
Well, this I speak after, but I wanted to say a new project in Gabiano is a spa. This will be the next thing. Gabiano, yes.
Is it going to be lotions made out of wine grape?
Yes, it's a secret, but we can start to sell it. Yes, it will
That would
be.
be great.
And
When
it
will
will
it
be
start?
with the sauna, with the view on the river Po, with a view to the valley, to the view to the vineyards. It will be something very nice, and it's something we are profiting of this period of unlucky lockdown and to work on this, and we want to open up with something very special and very new. We're always working on projects because it's a lot of fun. I mean, that's the thing. And we are very happy when people come, and I think, and we are very happy that you were happy when you came. We had a lot of fun when you came.
Thank you. You have beautiful things there. Everything, the wines, now spa. That's a good reason to go back. Absolutely, I just love spas. And now also it's all about experience. Where we're talking about hospitality, it is about experience, and it's all about sensation and wellness. So if you drink good wine, you eat good food, especially in Castello di Gabiano, where it's even 0 meters around, you have everything. Actually, you gave us a beautiful honey, and it was so exquisite, so delicious. And the wine.
Even that comes from the land. Everything comes from the land. It's from there. And, you know, it's what for me is the best thing is you're tasting our wine and you're tasting our terroir and what I would like is that when you come and see us next time, you get out of your car and you smell the fresh air and you say, wow, this smell, this, I already tasted it somewhere. And in fact, it's in your wine. It's in the aromas and the aftertaste of your wine that brings. There's a great winemaker in the Vallée d'Aoste who always says our wines are little ambassadors we send around the world to give little pills of what will be the experience when you come and see me. And that's what we're trying to do. We've tried to build an emotion, a whole emotion, which is pleasure, but at the same time, culture, history. History always teaches lots of things, good and bad. And so it's something very nice to be there. Relaxation, and at the same time, quality. And I hope this you find even in our wines when you drink them. That's
oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. Marquis Cattaneo, Adorno, Giustini. What a great pleasure talking with you, spending some time there in your beautiful castle. I know you love Mexico. I mean, it was Giorgio that introduced us, and of course, Carreyes, which is half home for you too. And I hope all of us can get those beautiful wines in Mexico, the ones from Castello di Gabiano. We'll put the phone number of Broca so everybody can see it. And the American Society in Mexico, which is the largest in the world, 2 million Americans living in Mexico. And we all love Italy. We all love what it's made in Italy. And it's always so romantic, but more romantic that your beautiful Castello in Piemonte. So it will be a pleasure for everybody to go and visit, and the hotel, the spa, the restaurants, and try the beautiful wines. Actually, you do wine tastings there. So I think it's very important to have Castello di Gabiano in Piemonte in the top of mind, because I have you in the top of my heart.
Just say that you're friends of Debbie, you will be received. I'll be there waiting for you to with a glass of wine, of Barbera, of Gabiano, and we'll taste it together. And we try to find the vintage of your age. But it will be recent vintages, so maybe not fully mature.
Yeah, mine is very recent, so it was okay.
Too young to drink.
It was too young to drink, but I drank it. It's beautiful. Marquise, really, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you for everything that you offer.
Have beautiful surroundings.
Thank you. Marqués Giacomo Cattaneo Adorno, el Marqués de Castello de Gabiano. Un enorme placer tenerlos a ustedes con nosotros. Thank you, Marquis. Thank you, everybody. American Society, Larry Rubin, everybody. Have a beautiful, beautiful day.